We're back here in the Ronald Reagan Museum. We shared a video a few minutes ago that we posted where we interviewed the university president, the alumni director, the Greek advisor here on campus. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely check that video out. There's some really cool Ronald Reagan stories. So here at Eureka College, there's this outstanding museum, and we've had the opportunity to invade their space, if you will, for the day and spend some time talking about Ronald Reagan. So what are we doing here today? Why are we here? Well, today, Happy Founders Day. So this is 119 years since our founding, just down the road in Bloomington, Illinois. And when we were planning this tour, we thought, wow, how can we miss this opportunity to come see such a great place as the Ronald Reagan Museum? So that's why we're here. We've got Jeremy Lacoche here with us. Jeremy, nice to meet you. Nice to see you here. We actually interviewed Jeremy for the Teak magazine on the anniversary, right around the anniversary of Reagan's passing 10 years ago. So there's a really cool story, and I'll let Jeremy tell it from his perspective. But as Buckwheat shares, heads of state weren't invited to the Reagan funeral, but Frater Jeremy here actually was. So Jeremy, talk to me about how that happened. Walk me through that experience for you.
So in the spring of 2004, I was elected student body president here at Eureka College, and I was a member of the chapter at the time. And I was staying on campus through the summer. And of course, in June, President Reagan passed away, and I received notification through the college, who had been in contact with the library, that they were going to send myself, the chapter president, and the president of the college out to Simi Valley for the memorial service. So there was a memorial service in DC. That was a separate service. We went to the private service, the last service in California. So we had a couple of days to prepare.
Okay.
And then essentially we boarded a plane in Peoria, Illinois, flew out, Alan Knobloch and myself. We met the president of the college at the time, Paul Lister, in California. Went up to the library. We sat, there were a lot of celebrities at this, and probably my most memorable moment was seeing Margaret Thatcher, who was not expected to attend, but a lot of A-profile people there. The service took a while to occur because the motorcade took longer than expected. But in the end, probably from a visual standpoint, the sunset over the museum was the best I've ever seen in my life. Truly a remarkable event, remembering the life of such a great person.
So how did it feel getting that notification, that call of you are being asked to attend a presidential memorial service, funeral service, that so many others didn't have that opportunity?
Shock. It was really a shock. There had been talk in the years leading up to this about what would happen at the college if the president passed away, and his health had not been good in those last couple of years, and so but nobody really knew what was going to happen until it happened. It was never on my radar to be invited to anything outside of the town of Eureka. And so, and for me, this was an era where I didn't have a cell phone, so I was actually difficult to get a hold of, and I didn't have time to communicate with friends and family. But I did have time. I got a call from the editor of my hometown newspaper. So for some members of my family, the way they found out was it was on the front page of the Canton Repository that Friday morning. So it was just, the whole thing was a whirlwind, and I spent a lot of time making sure, I rarely flew. I'd never been to the West Coast, so I kept obsessing over what do I need, what do I get, what do I got to do, so on and so forth. And then it was just a matter of being present from that point on once you got there.
Wow. Is there a Reagan quote, something that inspires you, a story you heard while you were here at Eureka about Reagan that just really kind of sparks for you?
The story that I liked the best, and this actually was told to me while we were touring this museum when I was a student, is the story of the wooden bowl, and it's over here somewhere. The wooden bowl, oh, it's right up there.
Okay, yeah.
So that sat on President Reagan's desk while he was president.
Sure.
This was carved from a tree that stood behind the original building that's up here, the 1855 building here on campus. When the Civil War broke out, students of the campus met at that tree as news of the Civil War starting had gone out. And somebody climbed this tree and pinned an American flag in this tree. And so when they cut the tree down, they made a couple of those bowls, and they gave that bowl to President Reagan. And when he left office, he packed that in a box and sent it here with some other things, and it's been here ever since. And the story to me is significant just because of the history of Eureka College. A lot of people associate us with Ronald Reagan, but there are also roots here regarding the Civil War and Abraham Lincoln. And so that connection to me is very unique.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So next up, we have Bill. Bill, can you join me here, Bill? Good seeing you. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your connection to all this craziness here today.
Well, I am the alumni board chairman.
Okay,
so
great.
I'm the alumni advisor of the chapter.
Yep.
I came from Chicago to Eureka College in '81.
Okay.
Became a member of Tau Kappa Epsilon in the spring of '82.
Okay.
So I am IOTA 817 on the list of the scroll for the IOTA chapter, and have been involved with the chapter since.
That's awesome. Any cool Reagan stories that you have from your time? Or?
Well, there's a couple of neat things about Reagan. When I was here in '84, Reagan's birthday is February 6th, and that is also the Founders Day for the college. So, and February 6th of 1984, President Reagan came back for Founders Day and for his birthday and spoke at the college. I believe Shelley was talking about that a little earlier. Shelley and I went to school together, so we were both present at this time. And being the history of the chapter at the time, I was able to, with a group of gentlemen, had a plaque made, and were able to present a plaque to President Reagan at the time. Awesome. Didn't have much time to speak with him because it was kind of mad chaos with 6, 7 different choppers flying in, not knowing where the president, which chopper the president was coming in on. So we got to be a first-hand witness to that, listen to his speech, and there's a few other moments over the time. I got to eat dinner with his brother Neil a few times. He's also a member of Tau Kappa Epsilon when he came back here to the college. Got to meet him, and he gave us a few stories about when they were here in school and things that they did, and make sure that we were still living on and leading by example. So that's awesome. Always been my goal to the members of the chapter here, is to teach them to lead by example, not to take credit for what you've done, but just to do it and make sure that you're helping others.
That's great. That's great. Can you tell me a little bit about what's new and exciting with the chapter here at Eureka?
The chapter here is about 21 strong now. We're growing. There's been a few years in the past that we started to increase our enrollment. They're one of the stronger chapters here on campus, one of the stronger Greek chapters. We've put a lot of rebuilding efforts into the chapter house here on campus over the last 2 or 3 years, and that has shown with the increased membership of the chapter. We've put a brand new basement in the house. We're remodeling all the individual rooms, so we've got a good base. We're a small institution, there's, as you always talk to the president of the college, and I'm on the alumni board of the college, there's not a lot of alumni from the college since it's a small college out there. You would think, oh, it's a big college, you're going to have a lot of alumni out there to gather donations from. And we've got a small base out there, but we've got a loyal base of alumni that help keep the chapter going and have been a big part of the regeneration of the chapter here at the college.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. You too, Crowder. Thank you. So we've got one more interview here, and then we're gonna be wrapping up, and we're headed towards Bloomington, Illinois after this. So Next up, we've got Ken Baxter. Ken has really been our primary contact here at Eureka College and helped us through. And good seeing you, Ken. Really glad to have you here. So earlier today, you shared a really cool Reagan story with me in this case over here. We're going to have to kind of stay put, but if you can kind of describe what's in the case and the significance of that story there.
Well, that case actually talks about President Reagan's interaction with certain faculty and staff members here at the college when he was a student. And the highlight of it is his college football coach, Coach McKenzie, who actually is a Teke alumnus from the past of, I think, 1921, I think. And he was the coach of Reagan. And Reagan, he came here, he played football, he didn't get any playing time, he had some financial struggles, and he had chosen not to come back his sophomore year for a variety of reasons. And when he came back to get some of his things, tell his girlfriend bye, etc., he run into the coach, and coach said, well, we're looking forward to the season. He goes, I'm not going to be back, coach. And the coach basically encouraged him to come back, talked about all the plans he had for him, and how he could fit into the team in the year. And end result was President Reagan came back to school here, graduated, went on to a career in the movies and politics. President changed our world. So that's an example of when one fraternity brother actually helps another fraternity brother and changes the world.
That's awesome. Just having that opportunity to have a fellow Teke just put his arm around you and say, hey, I think this is the right decision for you. That's really cool. So can you tell me a little bit about what your role here is at Eureka College and how you're connected to all our craziness here at Teke on Founders Day here?
Well, I've been at Eureka College since 1993, and since that point, in one way or another, I've been connected to the Teke chapter, first as the Greek advisor, and then as dean, and then eventually, I'm not an initiated Teke, I'm a member of another fraternity, but I'm on the Teke alumni board for Iota chapter, which is kind of interesting. And so I have a lot of connection with them. My son and my kids were very small when we moved here. My son was only 2 years old, and I worked here long enough for him to go to school at Eureka College and become a Teke and graduate from Eureka College. So that was a really good experience. So I had a connection as a parent also.
Yeah. That's great. Well, we really appreciate all your help, and I'm going to call Chris Niles in, and we've got a little something for you to thank you here on Founders Day. So Chris, pass it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. As Alex said, Ken was one of our primary contacts, along with Shelley Schwanke. They were the first people we talked to when we were trying to arrange this. But Ken has been a huge resource, as he just said, for the chapter for a number of years, and I really want to thank him for his help in setting up this trip. So we are in fact gifting him a Life Loyal Teke membership for this year, even as the non-member, as he pointed out, but he exemplifies what it means to be loyal and supportive of Teke. So we made a donation on his behalf, and want to offer you there your membership kit in Life Loyal Teke.
Oh, thank you very
There's a
much.
card and a lapel pin in there, so you can show off your Teke pride as well. And I encourage you to threaten and cajole your son into following suit. That would be perfectly appropriate. But Ken's been a great resource for us, and I think is really a true supporter of what Teke is all about.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you here today. Hope you have a good rest of the day at celebrating Founders Day.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Ken.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ken.
Well, Teke Nation, thank you very much. That will wrap us up here at the Reagan Museum. We hope you follow us throughout the day. We're going to, like I said, head over to Bloomington, Illinois to our Alpha chapter. And there's actually 2 founders' graves that are actually in Bloomington, Illinois. So we'll be checking those out later today. So please support Life Loyal Teke today, tke.org/LLT. Very important, because you are making a huge impact on the fraternity. Life Loyal Teke is more than just a lapel pin, and you can make an impact on collegiates today and help educational programs and develop leaders and ultimately build better men for a better world. Thank you very much, Frauders. We'll see you soon.